In the Gospels, Jesus bases his public ministry out of a small fishing village called Capernaum. Capernaum is located on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, which is where Jesus performs many of his miracles and where he taught many of his important lessons. It's clear to us that this body of water is significant in the life of Christ. And it is here where we experience the most important moment in Jesus' entire public ministry. Jesus is near the Sea of Galilee, sitting with his disciples on a mountain like these, when he sees a large crowd of about 5,000 people coming to hear him speak on the shore. What follows is the miracle that we're all familiar with. Jesus takes 5 loaves of bread and 2 small pieces of fish, and he's able to miraculously feed the entire crowd until they are all satisfied. In fact, there's so much left over that they're able to fill 12 baskets full. The people immediately recognize the miracle that just took place. And they also recognize that Jesus is their long-awaited Messiah. Jesus' reaction to this is strange. He escapes the crowd after they recognize his true identity. There are 2 things that we need to pay attention to from this story. First, how did the people realize that Jesus was the Messiah at this moment? Also, why did Jesus leave them even though they recognized his true identity? At this time in history, Israel was being oppressed by Rome. They were desperate and eager for the coming of the Messiah to free them from the bonds of Rome. The Messiah to them, though, was going to be a descendant of David, and he was probably going to be a military or a political leader. The Messiah's sole purpose was to free Israel from Rome. All the people present at the multiplication of the loaves story, they would have known the story, they also would have known the story of Moses giving manna to the people of Israel in the desert. So Moses asks God for food that could nourish the Israelites while they're making their exodus from Egypt. And God provides them with this miraculous substance called manna that feeds them and nourishes them throughout their duration in the desert. Every devout Jew that was present when Jesus fed the crowds would have said to themselves, Moses fed the Israelites miraculously in the desert. This man miraculously fed us here. Moses also freed Israel from the bonds of Egypt. This man must be the new Moses, which means he must have come to free us from the bonds of Rome. This is why Jesus leaves them. It's true that through this miracle, Jesus is revealing himself publicly as the new Moses, the long-awaited Messiah. But the people misunderstand the type of Messiah that Jesus is. He's not a military leader. He's not a political leader. He did not come to free them from the bonds of Rome. He came to free them and to free us from the bonds of sin. We'll hear more about this later, but as Jesus is escaping the crowd, he must have been filled with tremendous disappointment and tremendous frustration that his message was so misunderstood. So why is this the most important moment in all of Jesus' public ministry? Well, the multiplication of the loaves is only the beginning of this scene in the Gospel of John. But it gives us a visible sign of the paramount lesson that is to come. By miraculously feeding the 5,000 people, Jesus offers a real and substantial bread from heaven.